first of our veterans today is in wheelchair, and that of course is Dick Clayton. I think we all know Dick so well. Dick Clayton, OAM, the President of the 7th Division AIF Association. Our World War II veterans are not getting any younger, and we really do appreciate their being able to turn out here today so that we can honour them and the sacrifices that they made. The third Jeep contains Mr. Reg Chard, Mr. Raymond Gentles and Mr. Charles Jennings, and they're accompanied by Nurse Katerina Farah.
Mr. John Haynes, chairman of the Kokoda Track Memorial Walkway, welcomed all those attending the 75th anniversary commemoration marking the retaking of Kokoda village by Australian forces from the Japanese in November of 1942. Hospital chaplain, Father Graham Maloney, said a prayer of thanksgiving for the Kokoda Track Memorial Walkway, marking the 20th anniversary of the memorial's establishment in 1997.
We commend to you those entrusted with the vision and commitment in erecting this commemorative and living memorial, which honours those sacrifices made during the Papua New Guinea campaign 1942-43.
The Kokoda Day address was delivered by Lieutenant Colonel Kimberly Ushniewicz, commanding officer of the 39th Support Battalion of the Australian Army.
It's an absolute honour to be here today, to remember the actions of the brave Australian soldiers who retook Kokoda 75 years ago. I would like to take a few moments to recall the actions that were occurring in the lead-up to these nation-defining events. Major General Vasey, the commander of the 7th Division, was determined to recapture the vital airfield within days, and the men of the 25th Brigade, under the command of Brigadier Ether, were given the honour to do so. In the meantime, the 16th Brigade, under the command of Brigadier Lloyd, was ordered to pursue the enemy northeast along the track. An interception of Japanese Army signals was able to identify the approximate strength and position of some of the Japanese reinforcements.
This intelligence was a great encouragement to Vasey and was confirmation that the Japanese had abandoned Kokoda. On the 1st of November, Vasey issued his first order of the day to unit commanders. Occupation of Kokoda is expected by our troops 2nd of November. Congratulations to you and the fine troops under your command for the rapid advance you have made under shocking conditions. The enemy is beaten. Give him no rest and we will annihilate him. It is only a matter of a day or two. Tighten your belts and push on. At dawn, a patrol led by Lieutenant Albert Black of the 2nd 31st Battalion crept into Kokoda unopposed. The Japanese had abandoned the village 2 days before. The Australian troops jubilantly followed Black's men and spread out over the plateau without a single shot being fired. Official history accounts summarise the moment. So quietly, the Australians re-entered Kokoda. Apart from its airfield, its significance lay only in its name, which would identify in history the evil track which passed across the Papuan mountains from the sea to the sea. There it was, 3 months after the Japanese Imperial Army had driven out the men of the 39th Battalion, throwing everything at the Australians as they advanced first and then withdrew across the formidable Owen Stanley Ranges. Australian forces reclaimed the vital airstrip. On the 3rd of November, the Maroubra Force Commander, Major General Vasey, raised the Australian flag on the site of the old Kokoda Administration Building and held a ceremony of remembrance for those who had died in the Mountain Campaign.
A complete audio file of the Lieutenant Colonel's address can be accessed elsewhere on this website.
Won a major victory, turning the tide of Japanese successes and securing the Australian homeland from threat of sustained or serious attack. We remember them all with respect and pride. Thank you.
75 years after Australian troops raised their flag at Kokoda village, World War II veteran Mr. Ed Shard of the 55th 53rd Battalion raised the Australian flag, in company with Mr. Michael Ali, who represented the many Papua New Guineans who gave extraordinary service during the war.
Please be seated, ladies and gentlemen. Just enough breeze today to say that those flags are flying.
Wreaths were then laid at the memorial's centrepiece by a number of dignitaries, beginning with Mr. John Haynes, chairman of the walkway, in company with Professor, the Honourable Dame Marie Bashir, and Councillor Marion Parnaby, Deputy Mayor of Canada Bay Council. Wreaths were next laid by Air Commodore Anthony Grady, Captain Tony Rayner, and Lieutenant Colonel Kimberly U. Schniewitz. Representatives from service organizations and veterans from subsequent wars laid wreaths in honor of the fallen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are privileged to stand here to acknowledge, to remember, and to thank those that have saved both our nations. So we are here to sing the song Our Land. It's about Papua New Guinea. We will sing in English and in one of our languages, Motu. And as we sing, we know you will acknowledge God for what He's done through our unity together, both Australian and
Kokoda, ina hari-hari, ay totore isi. My very good friend Alice King has just done a marvellous job with this service. I can't remember when I saw a display of so many 7th Division banners and other banners which are so significant on this particular day where we raised the flag at Kokoda 75 years ago. And we all, the mates that are here today are representing, I can tell you, we're remembering losing mates on the day, on the time or whatever, but remembering mates, and very, very special. They went with songs to the battle. They were young. Straight of limb, true of eye, steady and aglow. They were staunch to the end, against odds uncounted. They fell with their faces to the foe. They shall grow, not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
Students from Rosebank College who recently walked the Kokoda track. Liam Ferrier spoke of their
I'd like
experience.
to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land and pay my respect to the elders. Ladies and gentlemen, honoured guests, the Kokoda campaign has a significant place in Australia's history. It has become synonymous with courage and resilience. 5 weeks ago, Ashton, Christian, Michael, Stuart and I had the privilege of taking part in Adventure Kokoda's Youth Leadership Challenge, a 12-day, over 140-kilometre trek through the now famous Papua New Guinean Trail. On behalf of our group, I'd like to thank all of those who supported us on this life-changing experience: Canada Bay Council, 5 Dock RSL, Rosebank College, and our family members. Our trip was not just about completing one of the most mentally and physically challenging hikes from across the globe. The KYLC also focused on the leadership and social justice issues facing our closest neighbour. Along the trail, we visited and stayed in villages where people were living on virtually nothing except the food they grow. The aim of the Kokoda initiative through Adventure Kokoda is to help the local communities develop sustainable methods of agriculture and horticulture and increase education for women and girls. A major emphasis is also placed on discovering, understanding and reliving the experiences endured by our soldiers when fighting the Japanese in World War II.
The poem Fuzzy Wuzzy Angels by Sapper Bert Barrows of the 7th Division.
Asking that an angel guide him and bring him safely back. Now we see those prayers are answered on the Owen Stanley track. But they haven't any halos, only holes slashed in the ears, and with faces worked with tattoos, with scratch pins in their hair. Bringing back the wounded, just as steady as a hearse, using leaves to keep the rain off, and as gentle as a nurse. Slow and careful in bad places on the awful mountain track, and the look upon their faces makes us think that Christ was black. Not a move to hurt that carried, as they treat him like a saint. It's a picture worth recording, as an artist's yet to paint. Many a lad will see his mother and the husbands, weans and wives, just because the Fuzzy Wuzzy carried them to save their lives. From mortar or machine gun fire, or a chance surprise attack, to safety and the care of doctors at the bottom of the track. May the mothers in Australia, when they offer up their prayer, mention those impromptu angels with the fuzzy wuzzy hair.
Remember, I've also had the privilege of walking the Kokoda track on 4 occasions, and it's just really heartening to see how many of you are here today attending this very important service to recognise 75 years since those wonderful soldiers won the Battle of Kokoda. It's my job to say some thank yous, and the first thank you I wish to say is to the Department of Veterans Affairs, who support and enable us to have all these commemorative services. We thank them very much. Professor, the Honourable Dame Mari Bashir, AD, CVO. Dame Mari, it's always a great pleasure to have you with us. You are a great friend of the Kokoda Track Memorial Walkway. All of our Kokoda veterans, and it's really tremendous to see you here today and to be able to acknowledge what you did 75 years ago, and it's great to have you with us. Could I please also thank the 39th Operational Support Battalion, who have provided great support to today, in particular our catapult party that's still attending our
sons of this land, let us sing of our joy to be free, praising God and rejoicing to be Papua New Guinea. Shout our names from the mountains to seas, Papua New Guinea. Let us raise our voices and proclaim New Guinea. Now give thanks to the good Lord above, for his kindness, his wisdom and love, for this land of our fathers so free, Papua New Guinea. Shout again from the whole world to hear, Papua New Guinea. And we're free, Papua New Guinea.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia
Two cakes were cut, one marking the 75th anniversary of the retaking of Kokoda, the other acknowledging the 20th anniversary of the Kokoda Track Memorial Walkway.
Yes, I wanted